If you have a friend who is blind, these are the things that you should never do to them. Let's go. Hi, my name is Josh Tseng. Welcome back to my channel where I talk about what it's like to live with blindness. I once knew a guy who told me something that was uproariously funny. Here it goes. Friends are just like spare tires, always good to have around. My dude, if you're seeing this, I love you. But okay, let's be real. Friends can be wonderful, but sometimes they do things with good intentions but which turn out slightly wrong. And inspired by the many mishaps that I've had over the years with my friends who have tried to help me as a person who is blind, here are 5 of the things that I'm going to be telling you today that you should not do to your own friends if you are trying to make friends with someone who is blind or if you have a friend who is blind. Let's go. Number 1. Leave without telling them that you're gone. This is a really simple and innocuous and honestly harmless thing, but it can be fairly embarrassing if, let's say, I was talking to someone and for a brief period of time we just stopped talking and I tried to resume the conversation only to be met with total silence. It is incredibly awkward, it does not feel good. I have a fairly thick skin, so I'm pretty okay with that. But let's be real, you know, some people are more sensitive than others, and so if you do not want to make your friend who is blind or vision impaired feel that kind of awkwardness talking to thin air and having people turn around going, who is that person talking to? Is he mad? If you want to spare your friend from that kind of shame, do let them know before you're about to go somewhere. Just a simple thing like, you know, hey Josh, I'm going to go to the washroom. Something simple like that would do wonders in making sure situations like these don't happen. Number 2, grab them or push them around. This was something that I struggled with a little bit, especially in my early years of being vision impaired, where I didn't really understand or know what was the best way for other people to help me. And so a lot of the time I was just being shoved or dragged around by my family members who didn't really understand how best to help me. It wasn't their fault, but it was fairly cumbersome and honestly a little bit traumatic to be just suddenly pushed off and say, go, 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 you know, it's time to cross the road. Like that does not feel good. It's also slightly intrusive in people's personal space. Like, let's be real, you know, nobody wants to be suddenly grabbed or pushed or, you know, dragged around like some kind of object or piece of luggage. And so the technique that you're supposed to use is called sighted guiding, where you just tell the person that you're trying to help, you know, hey, you know, hold on to my elbow, and they'll hold on to the elbow so that, you know, they can follow along with you just fine. I'm going to find a graphic that displays this as best as I can, and I'm going to put it up on the screen. Basically, the person with the vision impairment has their free hand holding on to their sighted guide by the elbow, and doing this accomplishes a few things. Number 1, the person who is being guided can feel whenever you are turning or moving, and you know, you don't even have to be that descriptive when you're walking around. We can feel your body movements just fine. Number 2, this allows us to, at any point that we feel uncomfortable, whether it's for safety or other reasons, to just let go of you, and yeah, that puts a lot of control over the encounter into the hand of the person who is vision impaired, quite literally in our hands. And one more thing about sighted guiding, let them grab your elbow. I specified the elbow because that is a very neutral position and that is a pretty okay place for people to grab onto. So there's no need for hand holding, there's no need to pull people around by their cane. So that is sighted guiding and that's what you're supposed to do, and not grab or push your blind friends around. We are not objects, thank you very much. Number 3, give them vague instructions like, it's here or go over there. This one really drives me nuts. We are blind, we don't know what here or there means because those are relative terms. Usually when you're saying something like here or there, you are describing it relative to your position and probably pointing like here or there or something like that. Now look at my hand gestures. Is this something that a blind person can see you doing? No! So don't use them to help communicate to a person who is blind or low vision. That is not helpful. And so to give you an actionable piece of advice, use more concrete terms to the person that you're talking to so that they can understand where what you're talking about is relative to their position, not yours. For example, something like, take a few steps to your right. Yep, you got it. Or something like, yeah, reach your hand above your head. Yeah, over there, do you feel the metallic object? Grab onto it? Yep, you got it. Something like that is much more descriptive, and like I just demonstrated, it doesn't have to be extremely complicated or overly descriptive. It just needs to be descriptive enough and relative to the person that you're talking to so that it can be helpful. Number 4, send them a birthday card. Okay, this one is a bit more of a joke. And honestly, you can send a blind person a birthday card. Just make sure that it's accessible to them. For example, maybe make it in Braille. But before you do that, don't assume all blind people know Braille. Maybe check with them first. If they are low vision, maybe send them an enlarged birthday card. Or if they are totally blind and can't read Braille, maybe something like a singing birthday card or just a simple text message will suffice. And last but not least, on a similar note, we have sending them pictures by text message. You might think this is really obvious. You might think, who in their right mind would send a blind person a picture, an image on WhatsApp or Telegram or whatever? But by God, this happens way too often to me, and I cannot understand why. It is incredible the number of people who will send me images during things like festivals or important events, or maybe even just while we are casually chatting, somehow expecting me to, I don't know, use artificial intelligence or something to read what is in the image. Like, maybe it's because I actually have an education in IT and am taking people's ignorance for granted, but AI is definitely not that sophisticated. We have no such capabilities yet. There are pieces of software that can recognize objects, but it is very limited, and by no means can you take it for granted that sending me an image would allow me to understand what you are talking to and you can just happily refer to it. Like, no, that's no such thing. So memes, stickers, videos that have no, understandable audio, stuff like that, no go. I had a relative who shall go unnamed who, in their excitement to share with me their academic journey, would send me pictures of their report cards every semester. And I want to share their joy. I want to celebrate their achievements. But by God, don't send me a picture of your report card. I can't read it. So like, I'm glad the relative has since learned and doesn't do this anymore, but it was so incredibly awkward whenever this would happen, because I'm like trying to tell them, yeah, I can't see your report card. Can you just tell me what you scored? And we will always have to do this song and dance every semester. It was just incredibly strange. So yes, I'm not saying that there will never be a need for you to send a blind person or a person with low vision an image, but it would be helpful if there was some kind of basic description of what the image was like. Something as simple as, who's in the picture? Is there any text? If there is, then, writing down that text would be really helpful. Stuff like that can go a long way in making your conversations more productive and less awkward for your blind friends. And so that's it. 5 simple things that you should never do to your friends if they are blind. Hopefully this was fun and informative. Let me know in the comments below. And if you are one of my viewers who is blind, maybe let me know some of the most ridiculous or embarrassing or awkward things that your friends have done to you. I'm sure a lot of you would have experiences that are very similar to mine, and maybe I'll share more of my stories in the future. And before I go, if you like my videos and you like my mission to educate the world about what it's like to live with blindness, tickle the like button, hit subscribe, smash that notification bell so you can stay informed about my future videos where I talk about what life with blindness is like from my point of view. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!